Owl Nation, what is going on? It's been a little bit of a break, but I am back here solo on today's episode of the Night Owls podcast. And man, I'm so happy to be back. I hope you guys can understand, been very busy with school work, with a lot of things going on now that the semester is coming to an end. But now that winter break is approaching very shortly, I am solely locked in on the Night Owls, and we will be doing a daily podcast every single day. I am not going to miss one day from now until January. I'm going to make sure that content is produced every day. This is your number one FAU source for FAU content, the number one FAU podcast, the Night Owls, and I am back for you guys. Let's start out with the big breaking news. QB1 is coming back. And, if this were to happen 10 years ago, it wouldn't be that big of a deal because that was what college football was about. You recruit freshmen, the freshmen stay all 3 or 4 years, then hopefully graduate or go to the NFL if they have the level of talent. But nowadays with college football, it's all about the transfer portal. And FAU, a G5 school, has been hit by the portal more than most of these other schools because we don't have the most NIL resources compared to some of these bigger programs, these Power 4 schools. But whenever you can keep a QB1 who is the conference player of the year in the Conference USA, who had a very good end of the season this year, it is always a positive sign. And I am ecstatic that CADEN VELTKAMP is coming back. He gained so much of my respect to the fact that he is putting money and brand deals aside to come back to FAU, to come back to Boca, to be with Coach Kitley, to develop. And man, if he has a good year, who says he couldn't get drafted? Now, what does this mean for the team? Let's think about it. QB1 CADEN VELTKAMP is only going to get better this offseason. He had a solid season this year. He did turn the ball over a lot. You want to cut down on those 17 interceptions. 24 touchdowns, though, is top 20 in the country. He had 24 touchdowns. And that's without having a touchdown in the last game of the year against East Carolina. And when you watch that UConn game, there's so much flashes of greatness. I just want to read off some of these stat lines. 42 for 55, 494 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's throwing for nearly 500 yards on 42 completions. Cut down on the turnovers. Some of the games, like the Maryland game, 4 interceptions. You can't have that. FIU, 3 interceptions. And I think CADEN is going to learn from those mistakes. I think he's going to be grinding in the offseason on, making sure he doesn't turn the ball over. And I think it's just going to make him a lot better this next season. You can't throw it into double coverage. You have to make the right reads. You can't try to force anything. That's what CADEN was doing a lot, and he was trying to force it to Messer a lot. Yes, I like that they have an elite connection, maybe the best connection in college football. These two transferred together from Western Kentucky. But sometimes you have to find some of the other guys. Asad Wasim might be the most talented receiver on the roster. I don't think that he was involved enough, although he did have a very solid season. Jay-Sean Platt no longer with us, but last year you could have targeted him more. You got so many other weapons that you had last year. Dom Henry, he got Dom Henry involved a lot in the middle of the season. So I think the future is very bright for FAU. Now I think this means Asad Wasim and Easton Messer come back. CADEN VELTKAMP tagged both Asad Wasim and Easton Messer in the replies of his X tweet saying, keep Asad in Boca and keep Messer in Boca. That is just so good to see the chemistry of them and the fact that CADEN's confident enough to make a post to keep them. Do I think they're going to stay? I think they're going to stay. I think that Coach Kitley is such a player's coach, it's hard to want to leave him. And I think Coach White made the right hire despite the 4-8 record, the 3-8 FBS record. I personally think that Oldeshard we see and Easton Messer are going to stay. Coach Dewhurst, hopefully he can keep a lot of defensive talent. But I'll be keeping you guys covered throughout this whole situation. We have had some players enter the transfer portal. But that's the modern day of college football, especially at a school like FAU. I want to talk a little bit about the basketball team because wow, absolute domination, 3 games in 6 days, 3-0. Couldn't be more happy after bouncing back from St. Bonaventure's. But this week it's gonna get brutal. You got to go to St. Mary's, 10 p.m. tip. Then you got to go to UCF 4 days later. If you can get one of those, you are in a conversation for an at-large, assuming the conference isn't great. I said at the beginning of the season, you have to have somewhere anywhere from 4 to 7 losses to be considered an at-large in the American. So assuming that we win one of these 2 games, that would put us at 4 losses in non-conference play. Who says we can't go, 12-3 in conference? I think we can easily do that. And if you go 7 losses regular season, I think that's going to put us on a bubble watch. And if we get one of these wins against St. Mary's or UCF, it's going to be so much easier. The path is going to be so much clearer. Now, let's talk about the Albany game because I was actually the only media member at that game. Surprised a lot of other people weren't there. But the team just jumped off so hot. I love the defense. Devin Williams, top 5 in the country in blocks now. He had 5 more blocks against Albany, and 4 of those came within the first 5 minutes. It was crazy. Devin Williams, great night for him. Very proud of how he boxed out, how he played defense. And I remember there was 10 minutes left in the first half, and we had held them to 5 points halfway through the first half. That's how good our defense was down low. Albany took a lot of threes. They capitalized on a lot of them in the second half. Isaiah Elohimi had a great game, 6 rebounds. He tied his season high. 11 points for him. He shot 50% from 3. Devin Vanterpool, another standout game. Devin Vanterpool, he's one of those guys who scores a lot of points, but it doesn't seem like he scored that much. He does it very quietly. His game is super smooth. He gets to the hoop very well. Now he's averaging 18 points a game. This is John L. Davis type stats. Is he playing the competition John L. played when he was here? No, but very happy to see Devin progress into who he has become. Very proud of him. And then you look at Yohan Chisoko, he got some playing time. Kaden Carlisle had a really nice night, 5 for 9 from the field. That's very efficient for Kaden. Albany, they had that one guy, Jaden Kempson, absolutely went off, 30 points, shooting a lot of threes, great ball handler, saw him take a lot of fadeaway shots from that left elbow. But other than that, I'm very happy with how he played. There were points in the second half where I feel like we took our pedal off, our foot off the pedal. They went on a few runs, like a 7-0 run here and there with 8 minutes left in the second half. But still, pleased with the way we played. Very pleased with the way we played defense. And I know you don't want to give up 80 points or 79, whatever it was, near 80 points at least. But still, you guys should have seen, the first half defense was excellent. It was very, very good. And I'm very proud of Devin Williams for getting those blocks. We had 8 blocks total. Amaram Koo had that nice block there with the shot clock winding down in the second half. That was very nice to see. We had some steals too. But we had the second highest 3-point percentage we've had all season. 46% from beyond the arc. That's really good. And you have to give credit to the guys for creating shots. Coach Jacobs said that in his press conference. It has to do with all these shots being created. And, you got to give credit to these guys finding open guys. And I'm very pleased with some of the guys' assist stats. I think that we probably created more shots than ever. Isaiah Elohim, 3 assists. Nicola Moretti started. He's back, 6 assists. Yohan Chisoko, we know how good of a distributor he is. 5 assists for him. Very solid night. overall for the Owls. I wanted to talk a little bit about the rebounding because Coach Jake has said, whoever wins the rebound battle usually wins the basketball game. And man, were we good crashing the glass. We out-rebounded them very solidly. It was in terms of rebounds, I think 42-29. Yep, 42-29 on rebounding. That's great. 8 blocks to 4, 24 assists to 12. I think that's the highest of the season. 38 rebounds to 24 rebounds. So very, very good in the rebounding battle. So yeah, I'm very pleased with how we played. Now let's talk about these upcoming games. St. Mary's plays tonight against Boise State. By the time you're watching this, the game may have ended, may have not. Watch that game if it hasn't started. We need to be rooting for St. Mary's. Why? St. Mary's has votes to be in the top 25. If they win against Boise State, they might be in the top 25. Because right now, St. Mary's is 30th. So, Boise State's a good team. It would be a great road win. Who's saying if they lose, they're not going to be in the top 25? If we play a top 25 team on national television, that's just going to give us so much more national attention, and the committee's going to be watching. Because when we play them on Friday, not much going on. Not much going on that Friday if you look at the games. If we look at the college basketball top 25, I want to see if there's a chance that St. Mary's could get in. Let's see if there's a chance they could get in the top 25. That would mean assumingly 5 of the top 25 teams had to lose this week. Okay, so St. Mary's, yep, they have 38 points. UCLA at 25, they lost. So they lost to Gonzaga. Maybe that's one spot, okay? Then, let's see, who else lost? So you're at least going to climb one spot because of the UCLA loss. I think Florida might climb out of it because they lost to UConn. We'll see about that. Nebraska had 2 big wins. St. John's, did they win? I think St. John's, yeah, they won against Iona. So, yeah, I mean, it looks like there's not too many chances because not too many teams lost this week. But, I mean, if you have a very good, impressive showing, if St. Mary's does tonight, who says that they couldn't be in that top 25? Tennessee lost to Illinois. Yeah, Tennessee could fall out. So that's 2 teams. So we need to really root for St. Mary's tonight. UCF is a very good basketball team, guys. This is a Big 12 team. The Big 12 is the best college basketball conference. UCF so far this year has been very good. And 8-1 record. I don't think they're going to be ranked anytime soon. They have Mercer and Florida Gulf Coast before playing us. They should win both of those and then be 10-1 by the time they're playing us. So, again, December 23rd, that's right before Christmas. It's going to be interesting to see, guys. But overall, great win against Albany. 8-3 now. Feel like 3 in a row wins back to back to back. Now the energy and the temperature within the building is so much higher, so much better. And I'm feeling great, ladies and gentlemen. That's the Night Owls. CADEN VELTKAMP is returning, baby. Let's go. And we got a basketball dub. It's a great weekend in paradise. Thank you guys so much for watching the Night Owls. And we'll see y'all in the next one. As always, go Owls.